All right, man. Welcome. We back, man.
We are back. We are back. Yes,
Yeah.
2026. Time to get things started. Started in the right direction, a new direction, an amazing direction.
Yeah.
And it's always going towards God, right? Going towards God. So yeah. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm ready to get this thing started, man. We got things.
Yes.
The thing now is just the season for action. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's almost like it feels like a very urgent
Mm.
like it's time to move.
Mm.
It's time to move. Yeah, so I'm ready to move, man. Just ready to move.
Okay. I love it.
So today all right, so this was sparked this, right? Today
Sure.
we was watching Tony Robbins.
Yes. Rise to
The Rise Up Summit.
Rise Up Summit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess so my first question for you was like, all right, what did you get from it? First off, how'd you feel? Because was that your first time?
That was my first time.
That's your first time.
Yeah, not my first time hearing about Tony Robbins, but my 1st time actually seeing him.
Okay.
And seeing what he does. I browsed through a couple of his podcasts that came, on and off, and never really, paid all that much attention. So I always had good things to say, but definitely my first time experiencing his podcast and experiencing his summit. Which I went through a lot of emotions.
Okay.
I went through a lot of learning. I went through a lot of, especially just reflecting. Not just on the content, but on everything surrounding, what he was saying, me listening, why I was here, why this moment, why now, just all these things kind of took their toll as that summit went on. Yeah, just a big one big reflection in itself. How about you?
Yeah, no. I got a lot from it. This was my second summit that I watched. So I've seen the 4 days before, but it's still, even though you hear some of the same things, the thing is hearing something and applying something are two totally different things. And so sometimes you need to hear the same thing over and over. Sometimes, hear it 7 times before it actually sticks, before you actually can take it and implement it. And so yeah, so I got a lot from it, but it's like I said, it wasn't stuff that I haven't heard before, because I heard some before. But it's still, like I said, every time I hear it, it's something that lets me know that, oh, okay, this is something that I need to implement. This is still stuff that I need to work on. Because no matter how much work you're doing, there's always more work to be done.
What are some things that you heard at the summit today that stuck out to you, as far as, I've heard this over and over again, but man, I still haven't applied it?
Yeah. I guess one of the things that really stuck out to me was different personalities. People ask me all the time, and we talk a lot about masks, and I'm not a fan of masks. And so when he starts talking about the different personalities and the different, the warrior versus lover versus king versus wizard,
Magician.
Yeah. Right? And so when he starts talking about these different personalities and how they manifest in the body, I was like, I kind of pride myself on being the same person all the time, not wearing a mask. Like, the same person you see here is the same person you see at work, is the same person you see. Like, I don't switch up. And so I guess in leaving the summit, just thinking on that concept is something that I'm just thinking on. I'm just like, okay, so I had this thing where I don't care who the person is, I'm not going to agree 100% on what they say, right? Especially if you're going to talk for 3 hours, which some was 3 hours, right? So if you're going to talk and he probably talked for 2.5 hours of that 3. So if you're going to talk for 2.5 hours, I'm not going to agree 100% say. I don't agree with 100% of things I say. Over time, things change, and you start to say, yeah, nah, was kind of off that, right? And so even though I've heard it before, I'm just looking at it and like, okay, I still don't know how I feel about that concept. So that's the concept that's kind of swirling in my head. Like, okay, the different personality, the different versions of, okay.
You think that there are only so kind of recap what you were just talking about. He was saying at the end of the summit how there are these four personalities that all of us have. One was the warrior, one was the kind of the fighter in you. The one that's gonna do the action, I guess. Then the lover in you, kind of the care, the compassionate, the graceful side. The magician in you, one that's not necessarily sly, but can make things happen. You know what I mean? Can turn what and then the king in you, the one that kind of oversees everything and kind of holds it all together.
Yeah.
And it was interesting listening to that. Let me ask you this: do you think that there are more personalities than just those, or do you think that those are like the four biggest ones that people see are people when it comes to our different traits?
See, I think that there can be more, but I also see the danger in that. And that's kind of where so he talked about the state and the story and the strategy, right?
For breakthroughs.
Right.
Yeah.
And but that's kind of the story that I hear when I hear multiple, and when you start talking about multiple personalities, I start hearing diagnosis.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And in my world, right, being in the mental health world, it's like you start to see it as a bad thing. So you start seeing these people who have these different personalities, and it's like, okay, one day they're a child, and the next day there's something else, and the next day there's something else, and that has always I understand that that's part of an adaptation. But when he's talking about it, it kind of brings me back to that story.
Hmm.
And it's like, I don't know if I can rock with it. And I don't know if I like that idea. So, but I mean, but that's me. So when you say could it be more than four, I think yeah, but that's kind of problem, at least in my eyes. What are your thoughts on it?
That's I kind of have a different take. So when I'm listening to you, kind of talking about like different personalities that people have. Like this person may be a child, or this person, may be evil one day, or whatever the case may be. So when I'm looking at personality traits, like my personality traits, the way that I think about it, or the way that I was kind of reflecting when he was talking about it today, it was more so those traits that are all me. So not like okay, I'm being a child today. Like maybe this childish side is a part of me. Maybe the work. So I was taking each trait and applying that to me. So there is a warrior part to me. There's a magician part to me. There is a king part to me. There's a lover part to me. And to me, those were like the four biggest components, which is why I think you touched on them. But I think we can have a multitude of them. And I think for me, the danger comes in when we only focus in on being just that particular one and not being all of those together. Let me kind of break that down better.
So like just being a warrior.
Yeah, well, and so if it's like, okay, I'm a warrior, so this is all I'm gonna be. It's like, no, 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 no. You're a warrior. You're compassionate. You're a lover. You're all these things.
Right.
It's okay to feed that if it's bettering you. So, for instance, if I need some get up and go, I'm like, I need to tap into the warrior part. You know what I'm saying? Let the king tell the warrior, hey, I need this from you real quick. And the warrior say, okay, I need something from the magician real quick. What can you do for me, magician, real quick? Oh, you know what? You need some love right now. Whatever the case may be, where to bounce off one trait to the other, as long as that's you and as long as it's helping you, I think that that's a good thing. Now, when I was listening to you, so it's kind of like when people have a multitude of personalities, instead of it just being their personality trait. I think that that's kind of like where people have this mask and this person that they want you to see them as instead of who they really are. So when you have that person that's coming in childish today, it's like, oh, here we go with this person. Or you got this person that's coming in and they grumpy today, and it's just like, oh, here we go with this person. I think that's kind of like a time to challenge them, like, hey, what's going on with you today? You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel like being that way? And that's kind of what I was taking from that is, I have control over my mood and control over the way that I feel. So if I'm just letting this mask be my representative, well, is that who I truly am, or is that who I want truly people? That's who I want people to think I am at that moment. So it's like when I think about traits, is it's okay for me to have, my traits that are still me and it not be a mask. It just may be a part that I'm tapping into. But if I'm using one of those traits as a mask, like fully dwelled into that trait, I think yeah, I totally agree. I think that could be problematic. And we start, at least for me, I would feel like I'm venturing off from who I really am, trying to put up this protective front.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's such a fine line, from where this is you and just a personality, what you say, personality trait, um, versus this is, because I mean, using the example of, okay, I'm gonna show up as a child today. Someone could easily say, well, I'm gonna show up as a warrior today,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, and listen, I'm stuck here because of the story that I told. I know there's a lot of people listening and who listen to Tony Robbins, because I think it was a million something people on there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of those people were sitting there like, yeah, yeah, because when I go to work, it's almost like they take their clothes and their clothes becomes, okay, put on my suit. This is my professional person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me take my suit off. This is my laid back person.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hard time connecting with that, because I'm like, I don't want to. I've just gotten to the point to where I found myself. I don't want to lose myself in these other personalities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but again, I know it helps.
So let me ask you this. You said that, you find it it could be problematic for you.
Yes.
So being the same person day in and day out, regardless of what's going on, regardless of the situation, circumstance, regardless of the emotions around the room, you think that that's always a better way to be than being able to tap into your emotions sometimes, or being in that warrior part of you, or being that other part of you. Is it not okay to show that?
I think it's definitely okay to show it, but I can tap into my emotions. So
Okay.
I think once you start to tap into the real you, then then though all those parts are easy to, like I'm not switching. I don't have to switch hats. There was a movie, Ice Cube drink. Not Are We There Yet? Second one. The second Are We There Yet?
All right, let's just call it over there. Yeah, too.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And him and Nia Long got married, had kids, they bought a house, and they had a guy who was their realtor. He comes over, right? He sells them the house. The house needs work.
Gotcha.
It's a beautiful house, but it needs work.
It needs a little work.
Right? They end up buying the house. Things started happening to it, and he's like, I call up the realtor. And then the realtor's like, hey, we got to get the engineer out here, or whatever. He goes to the car, takes his hat off, puts on another hat, says, all right, the engineer's here.
Yeah.
Ice Cube's like, hold up, what?
Yeah.
You the same person.
Right.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it almost feels like people have to do that to it's like a switch on and off, instead of, and again, these are just my thoughts. I could be dead wrong,
Sure.
but for me, it's like, just be you.
Wow, that's powerful that you say that, because I've been in the mental health field for a long time, as well. I have 4 years plus, as far as my professional background with it, which is what I used to do as far as overseeing houses for people that were overcoming substance use and any, you know what I mean, type of addiction that they're battling, really. But when you say be okay with being real you, I found that so many people aren't okay with being the real them because it wasn't accepted by the people, the family that they were around. You know, So it's like, yeah, but being the real me always got me in trouble. So I can't be the real me. Being the real me got me vulnerable. And me being vulnerable got me, you know, taken advantage of in all these situations because I was trying to be the real me, but people just they either didn't like who I was or they took advantage of who I was. And I could never be safe being the real me.
Yeah.
So when you present that to someone who's like, man, just be okay with being the real you, it's like, how?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. And one of the things that he talked a lot about was the state. Right. So he had these three things for the breakthrough. He did it in reverse order because he said most people focus on the strategy first, then they think about story. If I would say a lot of people don't think about this story till they go to therapy, then they start to realize the story that they're telling themselves. But what they need to start with is state.
So the three things were state,
story,
strategy. But he presented them backwards.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And I agree with him when it comes to the state. And he kept doing things physically. And I realized that a lot of people, you can change their mindset. You can work on the logical side of things. But there's a lot of people who know better and can't do better. And part of that is because of what you said. They have been trained, their nervous system has been trained a certain way. And so in order for them to really change, they have to change their state. Meaning you have to be able to ground yourself well enough to understand that the time has passed. Yes, somebody did you dirty. And it doesn't mean that they're not. But the problem is, it's like, all right, I know I'm going on, but it's like a gazelle. When a gazelle it's a bunch of them and they're out eating. And then they see the grass move. What they do? Their head pops up.
Yeah, all stare.
Now, what do they know is out there? A lion. Now the lion jumps out. The gazelles, all of them move. All of them run. They take off. Boom. Now, if you watch Nat Geo enough, you'll see one of them get messed up and go off with go away from the pack.
Go in the wrong direction.
Yeah, okay. And then the lion gets it. But then the gazelles have something interesting that happens. Once the moment is over,
like
they go.
The danger's no longer present.
Right.
Yeah.
They reset. Their nervous system is trained so that when they see a lion, it's time to run. But when the lion's gone, we're good.
Right.
Our problem is our nervous system isn't shutting off.
Okay.
So you had something happen to you as a kid, and now at 40 years old, that thing that happened to you as a kid is still affecting you. Anytime somebody don't lock the door because you was robbed as a kid, anytime somebody don't lock the door, you get pissed and mad and yell at people in the household. And you got to make sure all the doors are locked.
Yeah.
Not because you recently got robbed, but because you got robbed when you was a kid and your nervous system trained. It's like it trains you. And even though you sit up here and you can logically say, dude, I ain't been robbed in 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your body still says,
yeah,
something's up. There's a lion out there. Right. Mm-hmm. And so when he talks about changing your state, that's what he's talking about. He's like, okay, we got to change that because otherwise you're always going to be.
Let me ask you this though. I see what you're saying. And I get that, your state, you know what I mean? But how much of a part does your environment, your physical environment, play a part on being able to change your state? Because let's take them same gazelles, right? They're out in the wild.
Yeah.
They all stop and stare when they see the grass move. But when the lion catches, whichever one and starts eating, they're like, okay, we good, right?
Right.
Take those same gazelles and put them in a zoo, in a lion's cage. Person that feeds them comes out and tosses one of the dead whatever over to the lion. Are they ever going to worry about that lion? Because they know it's being fed.
Right.
So they're able to change that mind state because they've been taken out of that environment.
Right.
Bad analogy, but because I wanted to tap into what you were saying, but I just say that to say there's so many people, I think in my mind, that I've seen, they're conditioned and either one or two things. what happened to them was so traumatic that their nervous system they haven't figured out a way to let that go.
Right.
They haven't figured out a way to be safe without having that guard up, whatever it may be.
Right.
Or they're still in an environment where they feel that taking that safety are lowering that caution, lowering that state of mind would be more detrimental than it would, if they were in a different physical place.
And ultimately, that's what it is. Your nervous system is trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And so when you're sitting there and you're in an environment, even if things have settled down, your nervous system says, I got to stay on high alert just in case. I was talking to people at the hospital, and I saw there's one nurse. She was like, man, I could sleep for 12 hours straight.
Wow.
I said, what? 12 hours? Talked to another nurse. Yeah, I could at least get 9 to 10 hours straight.
How old are they?
One is a little older than me, and one is like 10 years younger than me.
Oh, in 30s and 40s. Okay.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, and this is not the first time I heard this from many nurses. And I'm like, man, you know how long I sleep? To this day, without waking up, I'm a 2-hour sleeper.
Okay.
How much do you sleep? Can like if you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, when would be the next time you wake up?
My sleep patterns are so off. Say I went to the gym that night. You know what I mean? I could sleep 4 or 5 hours uninterrupted.
Okay.
But let me not have gone to the gym that night. For whatever reason, every 1.5, 2 hours, 3 hours, I got to get up and pee. And I mean, I'm going right back to sleep, but it's just that I'm getting up for whatever reason.
So that was my next question. Even if you get up 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, how long does it take you to go back to sleep?
Just like that. You're right back to sleep.
Okay. And so for me, only recently has that started to be the case within the last year. As a 2-hour sleeper, it would take me maybe 2-3 hours to get back to sleep.
So when you up?
I'm up.
Oh, wow. Regardless of how tired you were.
Regardless.
So you just ran a half marathon, your first one. Doesn't matter.
Right.
2 hours up, can't go back to sleep.
No. It'll take me a couple hours. Well, now today it'll probably take me 30 minutes.
Okay. Which is still a good amount of time, but yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Okay.
I mean, I'm used to 2-3 hours. I'm like, dude, like if I go to bed at 10, clock it, I'm up for 2 o'clock.
Now you were saying that in terms, I'm trying to bring it back to the nurses. So you were saying that in terms of
right. I say before 2 o'clock, before 12, before midnight. If I go to bed at 10, before midnight, I'm up. Now, why do I bring this up? Because my nervous system has trained itself over time. I said this to you the other day. Growing up in DC, my lullabies was gunshots and sirens.
Mm-hmm.
And so at an early age, I learned I had to be alert. So that said to my nervous system, you need to stay on.
So being alert kind of trumped you needing rest.
Yes.
Yeah, got you.
Because it's about safety.
Right.
You can rest and get shot.
Your mind is almost your mind is telling you no matter how tired you are, want to be tired, you might get up.
Yes.
Danger.
Yes.
And your mind is always trying to keep you safe.
Even though I'm not in that environment anymore. The mind still says, because the nervous system has been trained to say, hey, what was that? Is the door locked? Did I leave the garage open? Hold on, let me go check. Let me go downstairs real quick. Let me check this, let me check that. Knowing that you done checked it 3 times already.
Right. And check it again.
But because the nervous system so when he says you got to change that state, part of that training is retraining your nervous system.
Let me ask you a question on that. When we did one of our last podcasts we did was down in the Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah.
Outside, fresh air, new food, new everything. How'd you sleep down there?
You know what's funny? It was easier for me to go back to sleep. I was up, but I slept more. I slept probably 3-4 hours. Yeah, probably 3-4 hours. And it was easier for me to go back to sleep.
Okay, got you. But then when you got back to the States,
right
back to the same old pattern, up to 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have always been a sleeper depending on what happened to me that day, how that day was, how active that day was, or what I went through. Say I had a great day, things were phenomenal, I'm sleeping like a baby. But if I had some things that, I got to do this tomorrow, things that I still have anxiety or, worrisomeness about, I'm up. So that's always kind of been an influence or a factor. You know what I mean? As far as I look back on my life as far as I'm sleeping. Now, I understand that girl that said 12 hours of sleep, I can keep going back to sleep and sleep a great 11, 12 hours. And be waking up like, oh, no, that was some good rest. I know some people that after 5 hours, I got to get up. I'm fully rested.
Oh yeah.
That's not me.
And I'm still like that. Like I'm more of a napper. I'll get maybe 5-6 hours throughout the day.
Okay.
But like to sit there and sleep for 8 hours straight, I can't tell you the last time that happened.
Got you.
I can't tell you the last time I slept for more than 4 hours straight. I remember I was working at a hospital. I had a 20-hour shift and came home exhausted. I was on my feet for 20 hours. I knew if I sat down, they about to fire me because I'm going to sleep.
Knocked out.
So I was on my feet for 20 hours. I get home, I'm exhausted. Go to bed. You would think I got at least 8 hours, right? 3.5 hours. My body is drained. And I'm up. I'm up like this. When I try to go back to sleep, no. It was almost like I was so tired I couldn't go to sleep.
It's funny because I think a lot of people are in that state. You know what I mean? But yeah, kind of I wanted to kind of bring it back to what we were talking about as far as state. You know what I mean? And story and strategy. It's I recognize that I need to change my state of mind. Okay, I can recognize it. I hear it. And but how?
But not your state of mind. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not just your state of mind, and that's what he was showing. It's your physical state. It's your physical state. The story is your state of mind.
Okay.
But he's talking, that's why he got us up, moving around, doing all that stuff, yelling, and all that stuff.
Sure.
Right? Because it's like you need to retrain yourself physically.
Breakthrough.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, and the only way you do it is through experiences. Even though he's doing it in his seminar, that's not enough. Because when you go, so, all right, this is how it translates. You go to an interview, all right? And you sit up there and say, okay, cool. I'm going to put my warrior on real quick. I'm going to fight. And then they go shake your hand, and all of a sudden you sweaty, you got sweaty palms, and you're studying your words, and you don't know this thing, but you can't find the words. Why?
Warrior's not there anymore.
It's not, yes, your warrior is not there, but your state has gone back to whatever your nervous system has learned.
And that's a physical state.
Yes. Yes. You'll see people, you'll see sweaty palms. They start sweating out of nowhere. The body starts shaking. And it's like, it's an interview.
Well, no. I see what you're saying. I guess my question is, in reference to a breakthrough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want my thought process to change. You're saying that I have to make a physical change first before anything my thought process could ever change.
He's saying you have to make a physical change first. I'm saying that is definitely a part of the equation. I don't know if that needs to be first.
Okay.
But it's definitely a part of the equation. Because if you don't make that physical change, like I said, you can know better, but you still won't be able to do it.
So what is the physical change? How does that correlate with you being able to apply?
So the physical change is once I get myself in a regulated state, when I go to the interview, I'm not shaking.
What if you start
physically?
Shaking?
Then I haven't gotten myself into a regulated state.
So it is mental too, then.
It's definitely mental. I mean, look, everything happens. Everything's mental.
Okay.
Right? Even when we're talking about the nervous system, there's a lot of people who are trying to figure out the brain through the body.
Okay. Got you.
And there's a lot of people doing it. You look at David Goggins, right? Ultra marathons, all this. He's trying to find the limitations of the mind through the body.
Okay.
I think that that's the long way. Tony Robbins seems to think that that's a shortcut.
The way to it is physical.
Yeah, okay. That's why he's like, find a warrior, hit the spot, make the noise, right? So he's saying change that physical state.
So what if you're not able to change the physical state? Will you never be able to make a mental a mental change? Really?
Yeah, you're in trouble. If you can't change the physical state, you're in trouble.
Okay.
Because whenever that situation comes up again, your physical it's like the lion showing up again. Now imagine the gazelle, right? Whenever he see a lion, he runs. Okay. Now you take that same gazelle and you put him in the zoo, but across the way they see a lion. Guess what the gazelle gonna do?
They're gonna run.
Yes.
Until they see that lion being fed, right?
No.
Okay.
No, not well. Okay. The gazelle, yes, because the gazelle knows how to regulate its nervous system. Humans don't. A lot of us don't.
Okay, so we just keep running.
We gonna keep running.
Got you.
We're gonna keep running. So you have to do something physically different.
Okay.
And if you don't, then you just keep running. So an example of that, right? We're talking about the interview. An example of that would be, first, let's do some mock interviews.
Sure.
I've done mock interviews with people. The first time, and I'm like, I'm not even a real employer. This is a mock interview. You know this is a mock interview.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And they're jittery and they can't speak and it's like, because the nervous system is saying, whoa, this is not a safe place. And now, so then it goes back to what is the state? What is the nervous system? What's the story that the nervous system is listening to? Because the nervous system is listening to a story. Now, the story could be you got rejected before. And now you get a rejection. So the nervous system acts a certain way. But by the time we do 3 or 4 mock interviews, now the person is like, and now their state changes. By the 5th interview, they walking up to you with a handshake.
Or they better. They should have it because of the practice.
Yes, but you have to do something physical to change that state. Otherwise, and I think this is our problem in our society, and I know I'm talking a lot, but part of our problem is that we intellectualize a lot of the stuff. We talk about it, but we're not doing the physical step to change it.
Now, kind of separate what you mean, like, so we can, the physical state versus the mental state of change. Because when I think of physical, it's something that's active. It's something that I need to physically, tangibly be able to do. Separate from state of mind, from just my thinking, from my, cognitive ways of doing things. So when you say something physical has to change before something mental can change, you're saying that it could be posture, it could be repetition, or those are all physical things to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Jordan Peterson has these 12 rules for life. Right. And one of the, I think it's the first rule. If it's not the first rule, it's one of the first few. And what he says is shoulder back, chin up, fix your posture. And the reason why he does that, and I've done this in groups over and over and over again. I tell a group, slouch, sit down, look like this, and then look around the room. Look how pathetic everybody looks. Right? How does this make you feel? And they'll tell you, I feel bad. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, boom, throw them shoulders back. Put your head up. Look somebody in the eye. Now, how do you feel? I feel confident. Yes. Only thing that changed was your posture.
Okay.
Because, and that's why Tony Robbins, I do like, he had that Superman, that posture that he talked about with the testosterone raises.
Oh, he said 2 minutes just in that posture. Your testosterone rises and your cortisol decreases by 20%.
Decreases, right? That's your stress hormone. So your confidence, right? Just getting your chest up, shoulders back, standing in a powerful position. Now he wants to add movement, which is fine. That's his twist to it. But the whole point is like your physical state can change the way you feel. And so how does that translate to your cognitive? Well, it changes the story.
Okay.
So
it can't work the other way around. My thought process can't influence my physical.
See, I think it can. Okay. I think it can. But I mean, we just watched Tony Robbins. Yeah. So we're going off of his thing, which was state, story, strategy. Yeah. So, but I'm with you. Yeah. Because I do think I think the story can change.
Yeah, sure.
Before the physical state changes.
That's, it's interesting you say that because that's what I was thinking about, was watching him. One of the things that helps me is self-affirmations. And a lot of people say, hey, go tell yourself self-affirmations. Go stand in the mirror and that doesn't work for me. What works for me is telling them in my mind over and over again, you know what I mean? Or whenever they come to thought, think this way. You know what I'm saying? You're better than this. You can do. And for some people, it doesn't work. Some people have to go in that mirror and say, hey, I love you. You're important. You know what I mean? So that's why it's just like, to me, I don't know. I think it fits the person. I think, man, you were having a conversation you were telling me about Dr. Yaki, I think, saying that, you know what I mean? Certain are what they call nutritious and good, but that doesn't mean that certain nutritious food is good for you. I kind of, in my mind, apply that the same way that we are as humans. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mental can help change my physical in my mind. Yeah. Sure, my physical can definitely help change my mental in that way, but I think it's just the way I look at it is person to person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I, let me tell you, I never forget my first day going to the gym. About 4+ years ago, hadn't, worked out in forever. It had been years and years and years. And I talked about this on one of the older podcasts, but one of the guys I was with named Z was like, let's go to the gym.
Right.
I did not want to go. I was out of shape, you know what I mean? And going, you know what I mean, day in, 3 days on. First thing I had to master in my mind was discipline. Regardless of how I feel, I have to go. Now that, I've been in the gym and I love the gym, it's almost like, I don't want to say a reverse, but it's a different portion of what I give credence to. Now is, I don't physically feel right unless I go to the gym. The discipline's still there. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. But initially, I had to be disciplined and say, regardless of I know I'm sore. Right. I know I'm tired, but let's go. You know what I mean? Right. Now it's, you know what? Okay. We going. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't go, you're going to feel this way. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Like, that's kind of how. So anyways, I say that to say, watching, remember I told you at the beginning, I was going through a lot of emotions. Some good, some bad. People are like, how you going through all these emotions watching the summit? I'll tell you why. My biggest reflection, especially at the end, when we were doing, the exercises that point to your point to, I couldn't stop thinking about is, here I am being inspired by this guy I don't know. Saw him a couple times, heard he has a great name. And he's inspiring me to think differently, to move differently, to be better. Why can't I do this? Why am I looking at a total stranger telling me that I can do all these things, doesn't know me from Adam, but I can't tell myself that? And further, what is it going to take for me to tell myself that? And so I started getting a little upset with me. Like, so what you mean to tell me? You think you're growing, and then you think that you're maturing spiritually, emotionally, physically. But all this time, just got a slap in your face, you know what I mean? Because this is just a mirror reflection of what you've chosen not to do. And this guy's telling you choose to do that. So how am I going to apply that? How am I going to make that transfer in thought to say, I don't need this guy telling me, you know what I'm saying, to go be motivated. Be motivated. Wake up. You know what I mean? Like, how do I wake up and just gather that motivation. Maybe it could be physical. Maybe I need to wake up and do some more push-ups again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to wake up, do some deep breathing. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm just sitting there watching this thing like, hey, I'm just watching this guy tell me to be better. So that's why I was thinking about just that the contrast between the mental part and the physical part. Because, for me, a lot of things are mental first before the physical change happens.
See, I'm with you on that. Again, that's his philosophy.
Sure.
Right. But I see how it goes hand in hand. But I'm with you that it's person to person. For some people, physically, they may be in a good state, but the story they may telling themselves may be totally off. And so that person, we may need to start with the story. But for somebody, so for example, I work with a lot of people dealing with depression, and they come in and they like this. And so my first thing to them is not to change their story. Get up. We're going to do some jumping jacks. We're going to do some exercise. We're going to do, and then the first they're like, I'm not going, there ain't no gym. I ain't coming for this. But after about 10, maybe 15 minutes, all of a sudden, they sitting there like, can we do this exercise? I'm like, absolutely. Come on, let's do that. And then you see their physical state change. And because their physical state changes, now their nervous system has regulated. They're in a safe place. Because it's hard to change a story when you don't feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
I don't think you can.
Right. And so I think what he's saying is that, like, there's a lot of people don't feel safe. So we got to get you feeling safe first. State. You got to get your state regulated. You got to get you, even if it's just jumping up and down. If you get to the point where you're jumping up and down, then you feel safe enough to jump up and down, right? And part of that being childlike is like letting down your guard. Now you feel safe enough to let down your guard. Now we can work on changing your story. I would argue that some people are already there. So now they need their story to change. So I think you're right. It depends. Some people may need to do something physical. Some people need to do the mental part.
So interesting. He had us doing all those physical exercises. And I remember the end, when I started the physical exercise, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, this feels good. It's changing. Then I got to a point where I'm like, are you overdoing this? Come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm replaying. Now I'm getting tired. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not inspired anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where I was having this, my thoughts were coming on about, what? For me, my posture really is mental as much as it is physical. Because if I don't put my mindset in the right posture, as in, wait, be open-minded. Okay, you feeling like this is dumb, but be open-minded. See it the whole way through. You know what I mean? And even if nothing changes the whole way through, at least I stayed in a position to see it all, so that I can make my best judgment or best discernment on all parts of it, and not just my bias on, okay, I stop right there because it ain't make sense anymore.
Right. Because it's kind of like one of those things. If you don't understand, can you really say it works or it doesn't work?
Part.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, like and I'm glad you said that, because at a certain point, it felt performative. And another thing that I hate is
performance.
I hate it,
especially when you can see it being done directly.
Yes.
Like, at least sneaking on me. You know what I'm saying? But I can see the marketing here.
Yes. Yeah. And that comes from another story, right? Which all of our he talked a little bit about our beliefs, but all of that comes from our experiences and stories that we tell ourselves about. That's what narrative therapy is all about. Like, how do you change your story? And so, growing up in the church, man, I can't tell you how many times I have seen people act a certain way as if they got the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
And then be in the closet with my man. You know what I'm saying? It's like hold up. Hold up. Like, I'm confused. Like 10 minutes ago, you was catching the Holy Ghost, passing out, and now they catch you in the bathroom. What? I'm confused. Right? And so it turned me off with church, the performance. So now I'm kind of like allergic to performance.
Like when you see it, you shut off.
That's how my nervous system is set up. Right? So when I see it, now here's what I will say. I recognize it when it's genuine. And so when it's like he was doing it, he was forcing us to do something, which is not genuine. But like if I see somebody and it's genuine, then I'm good with it.
Sure, because it's not direct.
Right.
You know, it's interesting you say that. See, that's why I say I had to stay in a mental posture of open-mindedness. Because I had to think about it. Wait, yeah, he's going to be marketing. He trying to sell this.
Yeah.
It's a free event. How am I complaining? I can turn this off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came, you know what I mean, to watch this. So how am I going to complain about somebody doing something for free? But I don't have to be there. But it's the same thing. You know, me and you, as we writing the different documents that we've been writing, we talk about the use of Chat GPT.
Yeah.
And how, because, you know, Chat GPT is such a great tool to have, but also using it so much, recognize when other people are using it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, this ain't even, this is verbatim Chat GPT. And I can type in the question he asked, you know what I mean? Or she asked. And you shut down from that other than, wait a minute, I use Chat GPT too. And before I knew it even better, I was copying and pasting verbatim the same thing, thinking it was doing the best for me, right? So as I try to think and try to put all the elements together, you know what I mean, to create, you know, what's the bigger picture from this? So that's why it was so good to watch the summit in its totality. Because all of those things were things that I was thinking of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, this is great information. Man, this marketing right here. Man, you know what I did? Okay, now you over. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just kept going hand in hand. But it didn't matter about that. What mattered was I needed to see this whole thing. I made a commitment to watch this. And let me not take away all the things I didn't like about it. Let me start looking at the things I did like about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I think we have a choice. In my mind, it was kind of showing me a choice to do. I can look at life and all of its character defects. Or I can look at life and all of the advantages, great things that are happening. How I embrace people. Do I choose this person and say, okay, this I don't like about you? I take the time to say, but this I like about you.
Right.
What am I focused on? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. I know he was talking a little bit about, you know, what we choose to focus on and what we choose to give meaning to. I think that's so important. That was one of the big takeaways I got from watching this is, you know, we choose what we give focus to, and then we choose to give meaning on what we give focus to. And how we prioritize that is a reflection of where we're going and where we're gonna and how we're gonna be. And that's in my mind. The reason I look at that is because it's easy for me to say, you know, we got a long way to go in trying to start a business. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's going to all these trials and tribulations. Let me just get work done. Other than saying, man, we starting a business. It's just one day at a time. I just got to do what I got to do today, and it's going to grow. All I got today, oh, we growing. That example, what I mean by that is how I choose to focus on it. How I choose to focus on it is going to influence the meaning that I put on that. And if that's a negative in any type of way, any negative connotation to that meaning or to that focus, then it's going to be negative throughout the whole thing. If I put a positive aspect on that focus and that meaning, then almost all the outcome will be, you know what I mean, positive. So I think that watching the summit and being reflective and saying, you know what, I don't have to agree with everything, but I don't necessarily have to disagree with it. I can just hear it. I can entertain it. And if it works for me, cool. And if it doesn't, I'll let that, you know, go to the side. And that was just a big reflection of like, growing a little bit.
You know, it's kind of like going to the grocery store. You can sit up there and you can go to the grocery store and you complain about all of the trash that's in the aisles. Just talk about all the cereal and how it's bad for and this and how that. Or you can go into the grocery store and get the things you need and leave the rest. Because if you go in there and complain about all the other stuff, here's what's going to happen. Two things. Number one, you're going to be in there forever. And number two, you ain't going to get what you need.
I love it. You're going to be in there forever.
You're going to be in there forever.
And you're not going to get what you need.
Get what you need. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so obviously he has his style.
Sure.
He has his philosophy. He has his ways of doing things. Some of them I listen. Some of overall I loved it. Okay. And that's why, you know, because I've done it before. So I agree with a lot of the things he says, sure. But like I said earlier, I don't agree with 100% of the things I say. So I'm definitely not going to agree with 100% of the things he says, you know. And so especially people who are doing this work and helping people, not only ourselves transform, but help other people transform, you have to realize we have to be a practitioner of this work. We have to practice what we preach. And as we're practicing what we preach, these are where the nuances come in, like what you were saying, which said, well, I got to start with the mental first. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Some people do need to start with the mental first. Some people do need to start with the physical state first. Mm-hmm. Some people got both of those together and don't have a strategy. Some people do need to start with the strategy, right? Different people are in different places. Like it would be ridiculous for me to say, hey, we're going to go to DC. And I got somebody in California, I got somebody in New York, I got somebody in Florida, I got somebody in Texas, and I tell all of them the same directions. What? No, we all got the same destination, but we're going to have different ways to get there. And that's where you need to be able to have your mind opened up enough to say, okay, I probably don't need to go this way because I'm coming from Florida. So I go that way, I'm going to be women. So I need to go north, right? And that's when you look at what he said, take what you can from it, and then leave the rest. And there was a lot to take from it. You know, he talked about why he feeds so many people. That was another thing I wanted to bring up because he equates it to, and he goes back to the most important, most impactful day of his life when the guy came and brought them some food. And, you know, because of that, he billions of people. And how he was able to use that, and I wanted to ask you, because I think this is important for everybody. When you start talking about mentally your story, ultimately you have to have a why, a motive. And I know he said, I know he said he's not a fan of motivation. I am. I'm a huge fan of motivation. And here's why. Motivation, you know, back when we was in school, we used to learn about root words, right? So the root word for motivation is motive. What is your motive? Motive is your reason for doing something. So even when I hear somebody say, F motivation, I'm disciplined. My question is, well, why are you disciplined? Because I want to be in shape. That's your motive. That is your motivation. So you're poo-pooing motivation for discipline when motivation is the cause for your discipline. So, yeah. Yeah, when you say, you know what, I'm tired of this life. I don't want this no more. That's your motivation. Then you say, you know what, I'm going to the gym every day. Tired or not.
Can you be motivated without discipline?
Yes.
But you can be
yes.
But you can't be disciplined without being motivated.
No.
Okay.
Now, discipline follows motivation. Otherwise, why are you doing what you're doing? So I could be the best version of me. Okay, that's your motive. That's your motivation. So I could be the best parent. So I could win the race. So I can, if you can add a "so I can" or to it, then that's your motive.
Okay.
I'm doing
Motives
this.
can change though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They better change because let's say you're doing what you're doing so that you can win the Super Bowl, and then you win the Super Bowl. Well, then your life is over if you ain't got no more motive, ain't got no more motivation. Then now what? So your motivation should change over time. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. I can see how motivation play. I got a little different take on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think that it comes from a decision. And I don't know if that decision has to be motivated as far as, okay, in what you were talking about, looking for a result. I'm doing this so that I can become, so that this happens. Where discipline for me can, you know what, I want to try something new, and let me just start with this. Start saying I want to start just to see if just with the discipline itself. So, for instance, if I wanted a fast, I'm going to do a 3-day fast, and I just want to see if I'm disciplined to do it. Well, me seeing if I'm disciplined to do it, you could say, okay, well, that's motivating you. Whereas I don't really have the motivation to do it because of the results that come from it. I just want to see if I can do it.
And I would say that is your motivation.
Okay.
I think people think that motivation is like rah, rah,
like inspiring.
Yeah, like I'm motivated. No, if you're motivated to see if you have the discipline, then that's your motivation.
Okay, so but you're saying you can't just see something that you want to try to do without it being called motivation. That's hand in hand.
Right. My motivation may be I don't want to be here no more. Okay. And then somebody said, well, you got to be disciplined. Yes, but the discipline starts because you're motivated to not be where you are. So that motive is always the seed. So motivation is always the seed to do anything.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that take on it. I was thinking about that. I'm like, a lot of things that I try to be disciplined in. Shoot, it comes from a lot of it comes from motivation. You know what I mean?
I would argue and listen, prove me wrong if you could think of that does not come from motivation. I'm going to the gym. Why are you going to the gym? Because I had a heart attack. Well, why don't you just have another heart attack? Because I don't want to die. Oh, so you're motivated to stay alive? Oh, that's your motivation.
See, now that's where it gets a little tricky for me. Because if that's the case, then everything we do is for motivation.
Yes. Yeah. Even if it's selfish motivation. The key to motivation, though, is to find something that's motivating enough to keep you going. That's the key. Because you can find, everything. Yes, everything. I'm hungry, so I'm motivated to cook. Okay. Yes, everything is, but.
And I ask you that is because both our fields, mental health. People that are in addiction, you know what I mean? Are they motivated to get that next drug, or is their body telling them you're gonna be sick without this next drug?
Or are they motivated to feel better?
Is that motivation, or is that a physical dependency?
That's a motivation. I'm motivated. My motive to get this drug is so that I feel better. That's my why.
So that's your motive. But motivation, are you saying motive and motivation are the same thing? Okay. Because when I think of motivation, I think of you have a motive, but the motivation is the inspiration. Not even the inspiration, but kind of like the positive why behind it.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Motivation, break it down, the root word is motive. Break down what is a motive. It's essentially your why, your reason for doing whatever you're doing. So your why is your motive, is your motivation. They're all the same thing.
That's what I was trying to get at. So you're saying your reason is your motivation.
Yes.
So there's nothing.
So whatever that reason is, that's your motivation.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, but there are some things. So is there anything that we can do in life that doesn't have motivation?
No, I don't think so. No.
I
would have to think. I would have to think about that, but no. Because let's say I'm motivated to I'm not motivated to go to work. And it's like, okay, well then you're motivated to sleep, motivated to chill, or not put yourself in this situation. Like I remember my cousin, or somebody I knew was like, you know what? I ain't never working for no Caucasian man.
Here we go.
Then he started working.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, man, I'm only doing this because your motivation is to eat, huh? Your motivation is to get you, yeah.
So you're saying, okay, see, that's my contention, I should say, when I'm thinking about this is, okay, well, let's just I don't want to go to work today. Is what we were just talking about. That, or he doesn't want to work for whoever. Okay, so that's his instant motivation is I don't want to go to work, or I don't want to work for this person, right? And then you say, but you go to work because, or you don't go to work because you want to get that sleep, or you do go to work because you don't want to get fired. So it's like, I just had motivation not to want to go to work. Mm-hmm. But because I don't want to get fired, now I have motivation not to get fired. So I got motivation not to want to go to work, but I got motivation not to get fired. So I'm like, how are they?
That's why you have to find a stronger motivations aren't equal.
Right.
Like you have to find a stronger, you have to find a motivation that keeps you going. All motivation ain't created equal.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, can there be a reason to do something without me being motivated to do it?
That's what I'm saying. No, the motivation is gonna be there. If you're doing something, there's a reason why you're doing it, which is your motivation. But our problem is we don't have strong enough motivations. So Tony Robbins had a very strong motivation. He didn't want somebody to suffer. And I've seen him in other podcasts and interviews talk about his motivation is suffering because he suffered. So he don't want people to suffer, which is why he focuses on feeding people. And he shared that story, right? Sure. So it's like, that's my motivation. My motivation is to help people, not to suffer. That's a strong motivation.
I think motivation, like, yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? When it comes to him, it's just like, why aren't you doing that for yourself? Or, you know what? Why you came to work late again? Man, why do you keep coming to work late? Man, I can't keep motivated to come early. Motivated. So it kind of, if I'm breaking down what you're saying, it's like, okay, well, then that means you're motivated to stay late.
Yes.
And where I'm thinking, necessarily motivated to stay late, I know I don't need to be coming late. I just can't find the motivation to come early.
Right. You're saying, I don't have motivation to come in early.
Right.
Which means, by default, I have the motivation to come in late.
Now, why is that necessarily motivation to come in late? Because my motivation isn't to come in late. I'm just doing that.
Maybe that's the result of my motivation.
That could be the result.
My motivation is to stay in the bed an extra 5 minutes.
So you're saying that when it comes to how you think about motivation, whatever you do that trumps whatever, I shouldn't say trumps, but whatever you do for whatever reason, you doing is motivation.
There's a reason behind everything you do.
Sure.
Right? And that reason is your motivation. Whatever the reason is. And are there some motivations that are stronger than others? Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So for example, if you take a random stranger and you tell them, hey, somebody's drowning and you can swim. The random stranger can swim. Somebody's drowning. And you ask him, okay, let's make it a male, 30 years old, big and buff. He's drowning. You save him. And a lot of those people are going to be like, no. Why? Now, think about this. Why? Why would they say no?
Because they can't swim.
No, let's say they can. Matter of fact, they've been lifeguards.
Oh, I thought you were saying the person who's drowning can't swim. So you're saying that the person's being asked.
Person's right there drowning.
Okay.
Okay. You're bystander.
Yeah. And why would I do it?
This person, no. We ask random people. And then this person is drowning. And we ask this random person, and this random person says, no, I wouldn't. I'm not going to save him. Why?
Why don't you save him?
No. They're the only ones there. Why wouldn't you save them?
Maybe I'm thinking about it. You said if we wouldn't ask random people.
It's a random person.
Why they wouldn't save that person?
This random.
And my answer is that random person says, why don't you save him?
Because you're the only one there. So what would be the random?
I don't want to.
Right. Why don't you want to?
I don't.
Okay. That's your motivation. You don't want to. You don't want to get involved.
See, that's
your motivation. You don't want to get involved. See, now, if we're true about it, there's way more to that.
Yeah.
There's way more to that. Because no, it ain't because you don't want to. It's because you don't want to get your clothes wet. You don't know this person. You don't want to get. There's many things, but all of that is your motivation. Now let's take that same person. Take that same person. Okay, cool. It's a 5-year-old. You turn that 30-year-old into a 5-year-old. What do you think that random person says now? Are you gonna go say to that 5-year-old?
That same person?
Yeah.
I still don't want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
because I don't want to. Yeah.
Now, you're right. You may find a heartless person who says, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And again, same motivation. I don't know that kid. Okay, cool. Yeah. Now, let's make it your son. 5 years old, drowning in that pool. Nobody's around. Do you go, random person, are you going to go save him?
I would hope that most people would say yes.
Why?
Because it's their son.
See, kids are a very strong motivation for a lot of people.
I didn't say if it wasn't their son. I said because it was their son. You said,
I know.
Okay.
Their kids, yeah, you're right. Their kid is a stronger motivation than other kids.
Right.
So I'm willing to do this for my kid because my kid is a stronger motivation than that kid.
So that's what you just said, that you willing to do this.
Yes.
So me being willing to do this, you're saying that is motivation.
Yes. That motivation is making me willing to do it.
Okay. I think about it a little differently than that. But I mean, I see what you're saying as far as, okay, well, there's still motivation behind it because the willingness means that you're motivated, or the unwillingness means that you're. So it's like, regardless of you're unwilling or you're willing, you're still motivated to do one of either. Right. I mean, one of the. Okay. I got what you're saying.
There's always a decision that I'm making, right? Whether or not I'm gonna, for this example, save this person. Now, if it's my child, it's a no-brainer. And then somebody would say, I'm not motivated to save my child. I'm just going to do it. Motivated.
Yeah, but then you're going to have the same different random person. Because I'm always going to say somebody's life was in trouble.
Right. Because you're motivated to do that.
Okay.
So
morals and motivation. Are you saying your morals are because you're motivated to be moral?
I mean, they definitely go hand in hand, right? I mean, if you believe strongly if you have strong morals, then your morals, your values, your ethics, they will guide your motivation.
And they won't ever trump your motivation.
It depends. I mean, everybody's different.
See, but what
I'm saying is your motive. You're always going to have a motivation. I guess that's my point. Whether the motivation is strong or not, that's up for discussion.
I got you.
You know, if you got weak morals, then and you say, for example, I value honesty. Okay, cool. Then your kid committed a murder. You gonna tell on him? Well, I mean, I don't value honesty that much. Oh, okay.
No, but it's exactly what you said. It's the value that you put on that honesty.
Yes.
I value honesty. You know what I mean? This high. But when it comes to my kid and a life sentence, I'm not taking any value away that I still don't hold honesty high. But in this circumstance, this is not the same. My kid is more valuable to me than honesty.
Right. And everybody's going to make their own decision.
But does that take away the fact that I still hold honesty in a high regard?
No, it just means that I hold not allowing my kid to go to prison for the rest of his life higher than honesty, which is fine. My point is going back to, and I know we keep circling around, but my point is to say, even that, there's a motive involved. I don't want my kid to go to. So my motive now trumps my morals because that's a strong motive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of people who don't have strong motives, and that's the problem. If your motive is, and Will Smith said, man, I wish people could get everything they want so that they could realize that's not what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably butchered this quote, but something to that
I totally
effect.
agree with it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, Some people motive is to make $1 million.
Then they get it.
Then they get it. Okay, now my motive is to make 10 million. Okay, now I get that. Now my motive is to make 100 million. Okay, now I get that. Now my motive is to become a billionaire.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, now you're a billionaire at 35. Now what you going? Now what? There's nothing. It's like your motive was too shallow.
Yeah. So it's like, what motivates you now?
Right.
Well, I'm not motivated. So now you're not motivated to be motivated.
That's a great way to start declining rapidly.
Yeah, that's so I guess that. So I mean, but what you're saying is that's still motivation.
Yes.
So I get that. I guess just for me, when it comes to motivation, I think that that's something that when I look at motivation, it's something that's support. It's something that that is the positive side of your why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus it's just kind of being mundane as well. The reason I'm doing this, the reason. But I have motivation to do it because, or I don't want to do this because, but the reason I'm doing it is because. But I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, I understand. I understand your stance on that.
Yeah, I think we're a little different when you say it's the positive side of the why. I'm saying it is the why.
Right. You said yes.
And I mean, hey, maybe at the end of the day, it's tomato.
Yeah, sure. Always.
Yeah. But what he was saying is that his motivation for feeding people was that his worst day. And so what I was going to ask you is like, how have you used your worst time? And we don't have to go deep into your worst times, but have you found that there are some times where that has been or become your motivation?
So I have multiple in my life worst times because a time that I think it can't get any worse than that, something else worse comes along, and I'm like, I ain't gonna get worse. So my drive to do something can change. You know what I mean? And even though I was driven to do this because of this initially, now I'm driven to do this because this happened. So in reference to Tony Robbins, that day that happened where the guy came to help feed his family, and him, that day has always been his drive. I'm sure there are different things that have come along to keep that drive going, but regardless if they came or not, that was his drive. For me, absolutely, there are definitely things that have happened to me in my life. But it's funny because I think a lot of people relate to this. Is there are a lot of things that happen to me that I'm driven to do all the wrong things. You see what I'm saying? There are things that have happened to me just on the traumatic side of life where I'm conditioned to think a certain way. And even though I recognize it, even though I know it's not helpful to me, I haven't found, recourse for, how to change it or why to change it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so the driving force behind something could be, from something that happened to you that was that impactful or traumatic, while other driving factors could be, you know what, I saw the happiness that feeding these people bring are brought, so I want to keep the happiness going, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, to answer your question, do I have things that have happened to me that are my driving factor? And it's absolutely.
So if you have things that you want to change but haven't been able to change, right? You mentioned the breakthrough, right? State, story, strategy. Which one would you say out of those three, just going by his philosophy, right? Out of those three, which one would you say is lacking and causing the change not to occur? Would it be the state?
When it comes to someone's breakthrough?
No, you.
When it comes to my breakthrough.
Yeah. Would it be the state that you're in physically? Would it be the story that you're telling yourself? Or would it be the strategy?
Which of those are the weakest, you said?
Which would you say is lacking to prevent that breakthrough, that change to happen?
Lacking out of those. What is lacking the most out of those three? Or just lacking, period?
Yeah, either or.
I guess the start for me is that it wouldn't be a physical state. What's lacking for me is the mental state. And why I say that is in order for me to change something, just me personally, I, one, have to accept it and admit it.
Okay.
All right, so if I'm not mentally in a place where I can accept it and admit it, then there's nothing I can't move on. I can't move on to the next step because I haven't mentally succumb or whatever word I need to put in there to say I've accepted this or I've admitted this. So now we can, move on to developing a story and a strategy, what the case may be. So when you ask, what am I lacking
Out of those three.
To break through, the biggest thing would be my breakthrough would definitely be my mental mindset.
Yeah. So the story that you're telling yourself. But that's because that's kind of, I mean, this better than I do when it comes to AA, and they talk about first thing is to recognize that you got a problem, right? And yes, I have issues with the terminology, but whatever. But it's kind of what you're saying. It's like I need to recognize it first.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to be aware of it. And I do think like awareness is the first part of being able to change anything. Right? Because if I'm not aware that it's there, then how do I even know that there's something I need to change?
Or if you're aware that it's there and you don't necessarily think or know, do I need to change this or not?
Right.
That's where I talk about the acceptance and admittance, because in order for me to get to the state of something that I need to do about this, I got to name it. I got to give it meaning.
Right.
You know what I mean? And until I name it and give it meaning, I haven't accepted or admitted it. You see what I'm saying? Because it has to be. And for me, I have to, that's how I give it meaning. Putting a name on it, saying, you know what? Okay, I have to accept that this is, I got to accept this because me not changing it is not helping my life. Or I have to accept this because if I don't change this, you know what I mean? My life's not going to, get any better. But yeah, that's why I said definitely for me is mental. I could go do 1,000 push-ups and feel great. You know what I mean? Look, I just did 1,000 push-ups. My mental state says, yeah, but you ain't nobody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, my physical posture's changed. I look a little better as far as for my physical, my physical state on the outside look, but on the inside, I haven't changed my thinking. So it doesn't matter what I look like on the outside because I haven't changed my thing. I'll give you a perfect example. I was a fat boy growing up, and I think I talked to you about this, the other, I don't know who I was talking to. But I said, you know what? Regardless, I'm 6'3", 210, 15 pounds on any given day. You know what I mean? Floating. No matter how good a shape I've been in great shape. I still look at myself as fat. You see what I'm saying? I still can't. And it's not that I know I'm not fat. I know, you know what I mean, that I'm chiseled. You know what I mean? When I take off my clothes, I'm good. But it's still like trying to be better than what you are. Why are you still trying to be better than what you are instead of just being happy with what you are? Because you fat. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can change my physical all day long. I could be the the leanest, ripped up dude. But if I still keep holding on to that childhood, as a fat boy, that's what I'm gonna stay mentally.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you, and that's why when he talks about the story, it's the story that you keep telling yourself, right? And that's why like I'm always a fan of, and there's a lot of people who have different philosophies about this. But I think that a lot of times you have to go back and heal that child inside of you in order to move forward. A lot of people can't move forward without going back. And like I said, different people have different philosophies about it because some people are like, no, you don't need to go backward, you need to move forward. Yeah, but here's the problem. If all of my pain and trauma from back there is still with me, then I kind of need to release this. And releasing this in the moment doesn't do it long term because that story going to still pop up. And so I kind of need to go back and redo this story. I need to be able to, like, I found myself having to go back and heal my 11-year-old self because and it was a process. That's part of where the book started to come from. Because it was like, I need to give this boy a voice. Like I need to be able to like free him and let him know that he's seen, that he's valuable, that all the stuff that he didn't think he was, I need to let that stuff out so that to give him a voice, to help him heal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so But that's part of why I'm able to move forward, because my story is changing. And I don't think you can change your story without, and Tony Robbins did mention this, it's like you have to see reality. Like you have to see what is. And
not make it worse than what it is.
right.
Right. But see it for what it is, because you
got,
can't make it better either than what it is. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of that is to understand, oh, my nervous system is shot. And I know that I should be doing this. And as much as I know it, I can't make myself do it. Why? Because you are trapped in that kid's body and you're struggling with that story. Well, but I'm not fat no more. Yes, that kid is still screaming at you. And if you don't go back and encourage that kid, give that kid a voice, give that kid validation, then what ends up happening is you 2 steps forward, 5 steps backwards, and you never feel fulfilled, even though physically you may look fine. But then mentally the story is still there. Right? That's how you have bulimia and anorexia and all these other
which are all mental diseases.
Yeah. Because people have these perceptions of their body and how they look because of a story they've been telling themselves. And then when they try to change the story, even if I could change the story in the moment, it's like, okay, cool. Get a haircut. Got cuts. Looking good. Yeah. But that kid's still screaming. And so you have to go back and change that story.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think that's what's so important is I don't want people to get lost in thinking that, well, if I do the physical change, my mental change is going to come.
Right.
Absolutely not. That mental change is never going to occur unless you go to that root cause, whatever that may be. And that's why, you know what I mean? Again, that mental awareness for me is so important. And again, I know that's for me. Well, you got some other people like, let me go be physically fit. I'm good, because that's not their story.
Exactly.
Their story's totally
They're
different. And for them,
different story.
Yes. Yeah, they're physical. Okay, now they're good. But it's like, man, I can't even get to the point of being disciplined. Like, I'm like, well, listen, my discipline came from negativity. You know what I'm saying? A bad story.
Yeah.
Your discipline doesn't need to come from that. Your discipline could be coming from a good story or a good place. If you want to be healthy or whatever the case may be. But it's just interesting looking at that mental framework. You know what I mean? Not what I call schemas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That mental framework that you develop and keep from a lot of early childhood stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of childhood things that occur. But yeah, that's so. When you ask what was lacking, you know what I mean? I think there's just different parts to it, because that story is just as important. But that story is also a mental part of your framework. And you can change the physical part of that story all you want to. But if that mental aspect is still there, still has you attached to that negative story, that's what you're going to attach to, regardless of the strategy or regardless of the physical changes today. So I think, again, per person, you know what I mean? It fits your strategy, but let's take a look. Am I good mental? Am I good physical? My story's good. Okay, maybe check my strategy. Well, my strategy's good. My story's good. Check my mindset. Check my physical. There's something maybe out of line. So I think it's like all three of those need to be investigated.
Yeah.
And then worked on accordingly.
Yeah. Now I will agree with him, and I know we gotta wrap this up, but I will agree that not the order, but I do think that a lot of people don't realize this is work. When I'm doing my groups and I'm talking to people, and I'm like, and we start working, not just talking theoretically about concepts, but when we start working, every time I'll sit there and they'll have an emotional release, some kind of emotional release. Body is shaking, maybe they're crying, maybe they did, maybe they're that, and without fail, they'll ask me, "What's wrong with me?" I'm like, "This is the work."
Mm.
Like I don't think people understand what the work is. I think a lot of people just feel like, okay, well, I go to the therapist, I sit on the couch, I'll tell them what happened when I was 7 years old, and then they're going to give me a prescription, and then I'm done, and I'm fine. It's like, no, you just started the work. And so sometimes we're in group, and I'll get people who have already started, so they're ready to go deeper, and they start going deeper, and they're like, this is hard. I'm like, that's the work. People don't. And so when he's saying, listen, you got to change your state, I think people don't realize how much work it is to get better. It's work, but it's also work. It's kind of like one of my guilty pleasures, which I don't watch TV much, but one of my guilty pleasures is my 600-pound life, right? And it's kind of like that show. It's like you sit there, they're 600 pounds. They've been eating for the last 20 years. They gained the weight, but you didn't gain the weight overnight. And so now you 653 pounds. It tells you you got to lose 125 pounds in a month. And you sit there like, what? I can't do that. And what he's saying is, guess what? It's going to take some work to get this off. And then they go home, and some of them try. Some of them, I mean, they all try. But some of them work towards it, and some of them don't. Right? But it's like, it took you 40 years to put on them 600 pounds. And now you want it done in a month. No, the doctor say take off 125 in a month.
Yeah.
But what the doctor's looking for is not 125. What the doctor's looking for is effort.
Right.
The doctor want to see you come back, you lost 37 pounds. Great. The doctor doesn't want to see when you come back, you gained 12 pounds.
Doctor says you need to lose 125 pounds or you're going to die in a month, and you come back and only lost 37, you're about to die.
Maybe, but the doctor sees progress. That's the point. I'm going to shoot you at I want you to lose 125. That's your goal. You probably ain't going to hit that goal. That's not the point. The point is, are you going to work? And yes, it's hard work. Yes, it is. Guess what? It was hard work putting it on.
Was it hard work putting it on?
Yeah.
Why was it hard work?
You don't think it was hard work putting on 600 pounds? As your knees start to go, as your ankles start to go,
Not at
as
all.
your Let
me tell you why. Work is something that we don't want to do.
Okay.
When we call it work, it's because we don't want to do it. Somebody says,
okay.
When we have purpose in something, or when we have pleasure in it, it's not work.
It's not work. Okay.
So if I'm sitting here putting on 600 pounds because it's my guilty pleasure, like you were saying, that wasn't ever work.
I got you. Eating the pizza is not. I got you.
That was for the pleasure. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
That was, yeah. So
from that perspective, you're right. But the consequences of it is hard.
Sure.
Whether you call it work or not, it's hard. And it's going to be hard to take it off.
That's the part right there, Jay, is it wasn't hard for them to put it on. But it'll be hard for them to take it off.
See, but I think that's also part of the story that has to change, because it was. Here's the thing about the story is how you look at it. If I put it on and I couldn't make it to my son's recital, if I couldn't go to the wedding because I can't fit through the doors and I can't sit on the seats, that stuff is hard. But I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it like, well, eating pizza ain't hard.
Right.
But the consequences of it is hard.
Not if I don't want them to be. Because otherwise I'll stop eating.
You still can't get on the plane.
Okay. I still can't get on the plane, but I'm still going to be eating.
So the consequences of it is still hard.
No, I see. I think that's what I don't want to get taken away from. The consequences in themselves may be hard. Because we looked at it like, you can't get on a plane. You can't go to a graduation. You can't even get outside your house.
Things that you want to do. Assuming that this person actually wants to do that stuff, right?
That part. Yes.
Yeah. Like these are things that you actually do want to do, but you can't do them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part. Not eating the pizza. You're right.
So if we get to eating the pizza part, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when I look at something being work or being hard, it's absolutely my mindset. everything is my mindset.
Yes.
And no, it wasn't hard for me to put on all 600 pounds of 40 years because my mindset said this was fun. Now that I have all these consequences that I can't do this, I'm all my limitations. For me to want to do something so that I'm not limited anymore goes against what I want to do. Just eat and have fun. Or be ran off this, pleasure button, which is food. So for me to change that, I have to now start thinking it ain't fun. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
My mindset has to be like, this ain't fun no more. I'm not having fun, even though my body tells me I have this euphoric high going on. I have to mentally tell myself this is not good for me. And until I get to that place, it'll never be something. It'll always. If I can say, you know what, this is what I'm trying to say about how you said it.
Mm.
If I can mentally say, you know what, that was work putting on 600 pounds, and it's going to be work taking it off, as other than, you know what, I'll be 700 pounds or 800 pounds until I look at it as a detriment.
I'm with you. It depends on it's what your motive is. If your motive is to have fun, then keep having fun.
Right.
Even if the food is fun,
Right.
having fun. But if your motive is, and when you see them on the show, you see them, they're fed up. They're tired of being tired.
Mm-hmm.
Their tolerance is up to here. But now you start to see what motivates you. What motivates you? Now, if the food continues to motivate, then you'll continue to eat. But if getting healthy and being with your family motivates you more, and you'll put down the pizza. This is where, again, it goes back to everything is motivation. What is your motive? What is your why? If you don't have a why, if you don't have a strong enough why, and that's why I feel like a lot of people, even when I'm dealing with my people in the group, it's like, why are you here? Because the judge sent me here. Okay. Well, we already know how that's gonna go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we're talking about, when you're talking about, this the work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like the work aspect of it. Like,
see,
this is.
But my motive will, if my motivation is strong, I don't care about the work.
That's it. That's the point that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Is when people are trying to heal and they say, like you were talking about, the person says, man, I wasn't ready to go this deep because it's work. But that other person getting healing from it, they're not saying, oh, this is work. They're saying, oh, I got to dig deeper. This is working.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So my perception is going to dictate whether I think something work or not. My perception is going to dictate whether I think something's hard or not. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all about my mind state.
Always.
If I want to look at it as that, I guess that's what I was trying to talk about kind of earlier, touching on between my reason versus my motivation. For me, you know what I'm saying? Reason could be exactly what you're saying. I can't get back to, 600 stuff. I can't get on the plane. You know what I'm saying? I can't do all this. My reason getting this weight off, like you said, it's motivation, which yeah. But to me, my motivation is doing this because I want to go be able to get on the plane. I want to go be, and this is my motivation for. So the reason that I'm doing this comes from. Let me take that back. My motivation for doing this reason, you see what I'm saying, is the byproduct, I should say, of how I'm looking at this. So I'm looking at my reason on a consequence level. So if I don't do X, Y, Z, all these consequences are going to happen. But if those are not listed as consequences for me, I won't do them. Do you see what I'm saying? As far as if I'm looking at this as work, if I'm looking at this as something that I have to do, then maybe that'll be a big enough motivation for me to do it. But if I stop looking at the consequences, if I stop looking at this as something that I have to do, then I'm not going to, I still won't have that same motivation.
I think I'm following you. I think that there's, and I know because we beat motivation to the pole. And I but ultimately, you're going to find out what motivates you. And if it's having fun, you're going to have fun. And somebody may say, well, I am motivated. you're not as motivated to lose the weight as you are to have fun.
That part. That's what I'm exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm yes.
And our problem in America is we have a sight problem. We can't see past right now. We want it right now. So I can't see that this extra large pizza is doing me damage. All I see is
I feel good eating it.
And I feel good eating it right now. Although after every time I eat it, I gotta get me some Pepto-Bismol or something because it always give me acid reflux, and you don't think about that stuff. Which also means if you're not thinking about an hour later, you're not thinking about down the road, which is also how you got to the 600 pounds, right? Because you're not thinking about consequences. And then once you get there, you realize this is hard work. And then again, you're not thinking, well, shoot, I put in. Now I have people come in, man, and I'm like, dude, you're looking at probably a 2-year deal. So, but if you put in hard work for these 2 years, 2 years, nah, man, I got 30 days. 30 days is enough to get you on that pink cloud. That's all you want. Mm-hmm. Then feel free.
Sure.
But in 45 days, I'll see you again or I'll hear about you. Mm-hmm. But it's like, man, I don't want to work that hard. But if you look, you could say, in 2 years, I would have put the work in and I would be in a much better place. That's my motivation. Or my motivation is to say, screw those 2 years. I want to do what I want to do right here, right now. Okay. You're more motivated to do what you want to do right here, right now than you are to prepare life. That's you're motivated. I know you've probably seen this before, and I know I say we got to wrap up, but we're really about to wrap up. Mm-hmm. I've seen people battling with addiction quit, never go back, and then I've seen people cycle through 14, 15 times treatment, and I always ask myself, like, what's the difference? One of the things that I found for people who didn't return, not to say they never,
I haven't returned so far. Yeah,
right. Always come with a strong, not. Hey, I just want. No, it's never that, and it's never like, hey, it's never that. It's always, won't let me see my grandson until I'm clean. It's like I got to do this because that means something, and I don't care what it takes. If I got to be here 30 days, 90 days, year, 2 years, I gotta see my.
So they might not necessarily want it for themselves. They're wanting it for something external.
Whatever your motivation is, I always love for people to get to the point to where they are their motivation.
Right. Because what if that external factor changes?
Right. Because now what if your grandson passes?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden. But in dealing with reality, I'm always like, take your grandson, get you started.
Absolutely.
Use that grandson up until you get to the point to where you understand that is for you. But if you need to start with your grandson, if you need to start with whatever, and everyone that I've encountered that didn't come back had started like that. Started with
not court ordered, not anything like that. They already had that initial hunger.
Yeah.
To want to change or to not want to.
And they didn't have to be coached into it. Like they come in.
I think got them to that point. So what are the differences? What is the difference between somebody who came in ready and willing to change versus somebody who can't get there and been cycling 14 times and just can't find it?
Never strong enough motivation. That's it. It's the motivation. When somebody comes in, the person I'm talking about, you don't have to. When you ask them why they there, they already going 10 levels deep. They not going surface. They're gonna tell you the story. They're gonna sit back and they're gonna say, you know, 6 months. Talk to my daughter got married. She got a 2-year-old. This that and
See, those are the scary ones for me.
Okay.
Because I've seen that.
Yeah.
I have seen somebody come in and say, external is my motivation.
Yeah.
And then it changed. My wife says she's gonna divorce me unless I get sober. 3 years later, why you back? She divorced me. But you was sober, right? Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I know you haven't seen these people back, but for me, to really get it is that internal.
No, I've seen those too.
Yeah.
I've seen those people come back too.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the ones who I haven't seen come back, who I feel, and my radar is off. So
man, that's all of us. It's the ones you know is gonna make it that part, and the ones you like they ain't never gonna make it.
Ultimately, all right, give me one takeaway from Tony Robbins' journey that not only impacted you, but you think that would impact, somebody who didn't see. Like, what's one takeaway that?
Don't quote me. You have to go back to the Summit and watch to have it verbatim. But he says something that all people that he knew that were successful were people who weren't successful is they had a hunger. They had a drive to want to be successful. And no matter what came in their way, that drive never stopped. That want to be successful never stopped. That is what I call determination. That's what I call discipline. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I call motivation, determination, and discipline. When you have that mindset that no matter how many times I fall, no matter I told myself I was going to be successful at 20, I'm at 30, told myself I was going to be successful by 35, I'm at 40, told myself I was going to be successful by 42, I'm at 63, still striving for that. Is what I took for that's real hunger. It doesn't matter what's thrown, you never accepted defeat. And what defeat looks like is not having that hunger anymore. See what I'm saying? So I love the fact that he stated, not everyone was the same as they had these traits or they had these. They just had a hunger that no matter what came in front of them, this is what they wanted to be. And that the blueprint of success may not have been what was in their mind initially. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That the blueprint of success can look way, way different, but that's okay because it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still success. It's just not how you looked at it initially, So, drive and the blueprint of our life may not be what you think it's going to be, but it could be something so much better. You know what I mean? You won't be able to ascertain, see, or conceptualize until you get there.
The one I leave off with is when my man he was talking to the guy got through the guy who he wanted to transition himself out and tried 4 times. And he said he was listening to Tony Robbins, and he said Tony Robbins has said that the problem is that people feel like they should not have problems.
The guy that tried to commit suicide. Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, and when I was like, and I've heard Tony Robbins say that before, but it hit different when he said it, because it's like that. So right. There's so many people who feel like I'm not supposed to have problems. Maybe because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, right? I've changed my physical state. I've changed my story. I have a strategy. I'm doing all of the things that I'm supposed to do, right? I'm thinking positive. I'm going to these conventions. I probably watch Tony Robbins. I listen to Jim Rohn. I listen to Les Brown. I listen to Eric Thomas. I listen to all these people. And yet my marriage is still jacked up, and my kids are still acting up, and it's like just saying that people have problems. Like, whoa. What about the pastor? Yeah, he got problems too. What about the therapist? Yeah, they got problems too. What about the people that know this stuff? They got problems too. And so that was the one thing that I was like, you know what? That's for everybody. You got nothing else out of that. Right? I was like, don't think just because you're doing everything that you're not supposed to have problems. You're gonna have problems.
And what he said, remember what he said, if you don't have problems, then
basically that's a bad thing.
yeah. So I'm saying, if you don't have problems, he don't want to be around you.
Yeah, because something ain't right.
Something ain't right. You're not striving for nothing.
So ultimately I thought it was good. It was 3 hours. I got a lot of info from it and got a lot of the wheels turning. Some things I loved about it, some things I didn't like about it, but
I liked it too. Overall, definitely a good investment for anybody. You know what I mean? Just wants to look at it, not from a successful standpoint, just something beneficial and impactful that's positive. Definitely.
So look, on that note, hey, I know we were kind of, ooh, good gracious, we almost pushing 2 hours.
Oh Lord. Okay, we'll do better next time, y'all. So sorry. Yeah, this is our first time back.
Yeah. Hey, but we're back.
We back. We are back.
We're back. Yeah. So we'll see y'all, man. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go ahead and see y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
Peace.
2 hours.
Yeah, man.
Dang.